The most influential names on the planet have enjoyed it for centuries. From the royalty of yesteryear to the status symbols of today. A go-to drink for some of our largest parties and celebrations.
It's about the image.
Champagne.
It's made its way from the big screen and become the splash we make when we toast at weddings. Those soft, delicious and bright grapes open a world of flavour and elegance. It brings in big business as well, a mouth-watering $6 billion US. From celebrities living life in the fast lane to those driving in it, this sparkling beverage has become the drink of choice for millions around the world. These are the secrets of champagne. Welcome to the world of champagne, a symbol of celebration, sophistication and luxury. From the moment the cork pops, the champagne experience begins. We think of champagne as a symbol of luxury and decadence to be enjoyed at parties and special occasions, a treat for high flyers, celebrities and royalty alike.
It's also about the brand. It's about the image. It's about the pop. There's definitely something going on, not just in the glass, not just in the palate, but also in the mindset of the consumer, willing to share this image, this status, this part of this history.
This fancy fizzy drink has long been a go-to for the affluent, especially during times of great celebration.
And that's what happens when you win an Oscar.
Oscar Wilde once said, "Only the unimaginative can fail to find a reason for drinking champagne." And Marilyn Monroe is said to have even bathed in the stuff, with a hefty 350 bottles filling the tub. But how did it become such a premium beverage? And why do so many of us see champagne as the ultimate treat? Champagne was once a symbol of the spirit and culture of liberal thinking. The history of champagne dates back to the 17th century in none other than the Champagne region of France. At the time, still wine was the norm, but winemakers noticed the wine in their cellars was going through a secondary fermentation, which was causing it to sparkle. It wasn't until the monk Dom Perignon began experimenting in the 1660s when champagne was born. It didn't take long for the King of France to start serving the sparkling wine during official dinners at the royal palace. And in the years after 1715, the Duke of Orleans introduced sparkling versions of the champagne wine to the rich and the famous. Because of its locality and quality, champagne flowed freely at the coronation banquets, and it became a powerful gesture of goodwill to offer champagne wines to any royal visitors to the region. Although the French unarguably lay claim to having invented champagne, was in fact the Brits who were first to favour a brut, a much drier variation of the sweet garlic original. When Florenz Louis Heidsieck wanted to make a wine that smiles, he came across the Champagne region as well.
And it all started in 1785, where he actually presented his very first cuvée to the Queen of France, Marie Antoinette.
Today, the winemaker is one of the oldest champagne houses on the planet. So, what's the secret that goes into a beautifully crafted bottle of champagne?
A bottle of champagne, of course, is made of unique grapes coming from the region of Champagne, mostly Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Meunier. Once you make still wines, then you have to make the bubble appear. And this goes into a secondary fermentation in the bottle. And then after a few years, in our case at least 3, and vintage can be even longer, maybe 10 years you'll have to wait, then you just release the bottles. After disgorgement, you make sure that those characters will express themselves.
After the aging process, the sediment of wine must be removed from the bottle. This is done by a process called riddling, in which the bottles are gradually turned and tilted to encourage the sediment to settle. A mixture of wine and sugar, known as the dosage, is added to the champagne to balance its acidity and sweetness as well.
Everything in champagne takes time, especially when you want to get good champagne.
Popping a bottle has become the norm in pop culture too. Everyone is trying to cash in on the mega champagne business.
Welcome back, everybody. This morning, Moet Hennessy announcing that it's going to be acquiring a 50% stake in luxury champagne brand Armand de Brignac. It's also known as Ace of Spades.
In February,
Jay-Z sold 50% of his stake in brand Armand de Brignac to luxury goods giant LVMH in a deal Forbes estimates to be worth $630 million. The deal will land the Brooklyn-born mogul $315 million.
Champagne has become known as the king of wines, and it's not hard to see why.
Right there. What is this here called, the
It's
champagne?
called the Chemin du Roi. It's the King's Path.
Oh, the Chemin du Roi. Why champagne?
It's the taste of victory. It's the celebration drink, right?
All right. You've said, I've heard you call this is only for winners.
Yeah, winners only.
Try and get it into my mouth.
Okay.
Okay, let me just hold on.
I'm gonna spray it just here first so I don't get it all over you, right? Okay?
Okay.
All right.
When that luxury is combined with pop culture, consumers are willing to open their purses and pay high prices for that drop of liquid gold.
Guys who want it all. Chicas champagne. Flash.
The depth, the complexity, the elegance you get in a good champagne definitely is something unique. When you want to make an outstanding champagne, you first have to make sure that you select the right villages, the right crus. You have 320 villages producing champagne grapes in the region.
The business of champagne is tough. There's also the intense production times and strict regulations around the Champagne region, which means there is a limited amount of bottles produced. There is, of course, also the long-standing reputation as a luxury product, where people are willing to pay that premium price.
And yes, you can make sparkling wine in many different places. They all have their own qualities.
Moving over to another sparkling favourite, Prosecco, and Melissa Bauer is the self-proclaimed Prosecco queen. She runs a van making sparkling wine available to the masses.
Champagne is an incredibly crafted wine that is, for me, it's that sense of occasion. It's that sense of ceremony when you have a bottle of champagne, that it's like your celebratory, whereas for me, Prosecco is more the everyday.
She says there's a lot to love about Prosecco, including the food and the drinks it can be consumed with.
People have realised that it's a really versatile drink that goes with a lot of different food. It's not as complex as champagne in terms of how it tastes. It's very easy and approachable to drink, and it's also significantly cheaper. So that sort of ticks all the boxes, really, doesn't it?
Along with the reasonable price tag. And how could you not want to dive into a sparkling glass of Prosecco and the iconic Aperol Spritz?
I have only seen the interest increase. It's showing no sign of slowing down at all. And I think that people haven't tried it, they will start getting curious. Of course, the Aperol Spritz is made with the Aperol liqueur and then Prosecco. It's a bright orange drink, it's very eye-catching, it's very colourful. But more and more people are drinking the Aperol Spritz now, and it's all over the world. I've been in Paris and there's been every corner cafe has got people drinking Aperol Spritz. So it's not just an Italian thing, it's everywhere.
And from the great halls of royalty, champagne is making its way into the palates of kings today. So, whether you're strolling down the red carpet or enjoying a glass with your friends, champagne has truly become an institution of celebration, elegance, and opulence.